So this is kit number 9 and it's called The Smell of Spring. How pretty is that? And we've got butterflies. The first one this time with butterflies on it. So again, this is another one of those cards that you can do a lot of vintage edging to it, which I'm going to do when I'm constructing this one. So let's just get on and get started with it. Okay, pop that to one side, and we're going to be using a standard 6x6 card blank. So I'm going to just quickly create one at measuring at 148 millimeters. Cut that, fold it in half, make sure the edges are together, bone folder, and done. So there's our card blank. Okay, so our backing paper, well, there are 2 large backing papers on the kit. So you've got that one and you've got the one with the white panel in the middle. That is your insert panel. So that's going to go on the inside of the card. So because I always forget, I'm going to do that one first. So a little bit of glue, get the insert panel in there, and then we don't have to worry about it later. Okay, so open the card blank out and do it so the diamond patterns, have a look to see there's some fleur-de-lis in there as well, so make sure they're the right way up. And just give that a push down. Okay, so our insert panel is done and dusted. So we'll start off with our main backing paper. So again, we're going to bring in the tea dye, load it up, and just bring that colour in from the sides. I know it's distressed already, but sometimes you just need to add just that little bit extra. There we go. So that's that one. So flip that over, add our glue, and once again bring that across, and because you're using the wet glue, it gives you a few minutes or a few seconds to maneuver just to get that right border all the way around. I'm just going to give that a little bit of a wipe up because I know I've got some ink stuck on there. I don't want to get that on the back of my card. So I'll have a bit of a cloth. There we go. That keeps things nice and neat. Okay, so there's our first layer. The next layer we're going to add onto it is our fleur-de-lis panel. So again, I'm just going to add it to the edges of this one because it's already the right sort of colour. So we don't have to add too much to it. And it is one of the lower base layers as well, so it isn't really going to be seen that much. So just give it a rub round, push that to one side, and then add your glue. And then that goes onto your base card, just at a slight angle, bit of a Katie corner, like so, just so it's sticking out. Okay, the next layer we're going to add on is our burlap layer. Looks like an old sack cloth. So again, let's get some of that vintagey colour in there, just to darken up those edges. Now again, with this one, you could scruff the edges to it using your scruffing tool, which I think I'm going to, just to make it look a little bit more textured. I'm not going to do the edges, we're going to line those up with the edges of our card. So just scruff there. The reason I'm not doing the middle bit because that's going to be hidden by our topper, so we don't have to do that bit. Actually, I will do the edges, just for consistency. Like so. And then what we can do with that is we can then go back in again. Yeah, that's it, a bit better. And then add in that darker tea dye, just to age it a little bit. Now you can see I'm not being too gentle with this because it doesn't really make any difference if, you know, it gets a bit creased, because when all's said and done, it's a vintage piece, so it probably benefits from just being a little bit creased and worn. There we go. Some more wet glue, and then we're going to put that right the way across our card, like so. Now, as part of the kit, you've got the option of 3 different colours on there. On this card, I did the red option. In the magazine, I think there's the blue option. So I'm going to go back with that blue option again. So I'm going to use the blue banner across the bottom and the blue heart or filigree heart pattern strip across the middle. So I'm going to take the blue one, and then those 2 I don't necessarily need. So again, I'm just going to add a little bit of texture to the edges. I'm holding this one, so I want it to look a little bit like fabric. And then all the way on this one, really going for it on this one. So I want it to look quite raggy. Get rid of the snow, and then let's add that distressing to it, just to cover up those, just to give it a bit of texture. Sometimes I think paper can be quite flat, even if you're doing decoupage layers, and if you don't add any real ribbon or lace to it, just being able to add a bit of texture through scruffing the edges up really does help. Line that right the way across the middle. It gives people something to stroke, you know, because people sometimes will stroke a card. I know, people are strange. I do, but then I'm strange. Okay, so we now have our topper, which we're going to place on like this. Again, I'm going to scruff the edges of that. Go all the way around. Not too bothered again about getting creases in the corners or anything like that, because it does all add to the overall effect. These scruffing tools are great. Okay, so that's scruffed all the way around. Just get rid of those bits. Okay, and then we're bringing in our tea dye again. Just add a bit across the corners. There we go. And I think on this one I'm actually going to curl corner slightly, just to give it that bit of an older kind of look. And then if you want to as well, you can add in strategic tear. Just curl the corners in, add a bit more colour just to make it look like it's been done a long time ago. Just like that. Oh, that's better. Stay in focus with me. Just add that little bit of extra colour. Okay, I'm not doing any on the bottom corners there because they're going to be hidden mostly by the sentiment. Get rid of all that snow. Okay, so this I'm actually going to pop onto some foam pads. So I'm just going to put 4 or 5, one in the middle, just to stop it from sagging, and one in the corner. There we go. Take the backs off those. Right. So on this one, I'm going to put, so it's straight, but just slightly to the left, and then place that down with the foam pads just there. That's looking really, really nice. Okay, so the next step is to add on that sentiment. So again, I'm just going to put on some small foam pads on this one, and we're just going to add one at the ends and maybe 2 or 3 just for stability along there. The reason I'm not using the larger circles is because they might be too big, just slightly too big, and you might see them. And if you want to, just before you do, just give it a rub. There we go. Just to carry on with the theme. And then place that just over the top and about the middle of your card. About there. And just give it a push down. Lovely. Okay, next step, flutterbys. We have a couple of flutterbys. So again, just give them a little bit of a rub over. Don't have to go mad, it's just a hint. And a little foam pad. And I'm going to place that one just in the middle. So that'll allow us to lift the butterfly's wings up. Like so. I'll do the same thing again with this one. Dark edges anyway on this one. I have already gone around with my pen. So, and again up there. And then down the middle. And that allows you to then be able to lift up. Now you can add, there are 2 other butterflies if you wanted to. Actually, let's put the whole lot on. Why not? We only live once. Oop. Do that. Actually, shall we do that one at this side? About there. And then that one. Actually, I don't think I'm going to put that one on. No, I'm not. Change my mind on that one. Okay. So, final thing to do then is to add on your faux buttons. And I'm going to put those down here, just in a row of 3. So I'll get my punch. 1. 2. and 3. And again, I'm just going to squeeze a bit of that ink over the top, and then adding my foam pads that was daft. I think I've just, whilst blowing away, oh no, it didn't go too far, that's fine, all the a bit of fluff. Just thought I'd blown a button onto the floor. I haven't, which was lucky. The top of that foam pad doesn't want to come off. I'm not having much luck with those today. Let's try another one. Yeah, that's better. If at first you don't succeed, quick stick. And the final button just there. Okay, so back in with the glossy accents. This time I'm going to add a little bit of glossy accents down the body of the butterflies. And you can add glitter if you want to the edges of the wings. It's entirely up to you. And the buttons, again, I'm going to do my usual, which is round the outside, into the middle, round the outside, and then into the middle. Okay, and then just to finish off, I'm going to bring in my tiny little gems. I'm just going to add one at either side of the banner, just for a little bit of bling. And there you have it. The Smell of Spring card is complete. Everybody loves butterflies.